The talking is just about done for Andrade versus Williams, April 17th. The big fight on TYSON, BT Sports Fighter. So it's TYSON versus BT Sports, live on TYSON for the World Middleweight Championship, the WBO version of the title. So there's lots to talk about, of course, on the show. Let's get into it. Okay, Andrade versus Williams, or Andrade versus Williams this weekend on the BWTM Sports are covering this fight, just talking about it. So let's get into it. There's so much more boxing to talk about as well. So let's take these beautiful guys' faces off and let's get my face on. So welcome to BWTM Sports. Welcome back to those people who have been missing us over Facebook. So welcome back to all the various spots all over Facebook that we are talking. So welcome to you back. Smash the like button and invite your friends. Start a watch party. So on Facebook. Right. So now, yes, so first up, Lev Gramerson says a lot of fascinating talk going on right now in boxing for this show. Absolutely. Stacey Cross. Evening, Groom in chat. Hope that everyone's well. It's good to see you, Stacey. Haven't seen you for a while. And apologies for BWTM not being on Facebook. And Facebook's doing a whole lot of crazy stuff, but that's another story for another day. We are here now. Leif and Stacey, great to see you, and all those others across Facebook at the moment. I'll probably watching this on replay later. So, lots to talk about. First, let's talk about this fight between Andrade and Williams. You know, I have to be honest with you. When these fights are made, the question I ask myself, Williams said he's training the best he's for you. He's doing all the hardest training he possibly can do. And that's all well and good. And you can see him doing all the runs. I'm faster than a speeding bullet. I'm more powerful than a locomotive, able to jump tall buildings in a single bound. I'm the fittest ever. I'm hungry for this fight. This is do or die. You've heard all this stuff in boxing before. And you can get caught up into the hype. So before, when I did these video predictions and previews, the C word didn't come into things, and it's COVID. And COVID, I think, has been affecting a lot of fighters' careers. Fighters that had COVID and then come back and fought afterwards haven't looked the same. I don't know if you've caught that, but they haven't looked the same. They're not seeing the same fighter. And it's something that I think we need to pay attention to. So Andrade, I think he had COVID. I'm not sure. I don't know about Liam Williams. But one of the things I know is that people who have COVID, their punch resistance seems to be less. Their balance seems all over the place. Well, this is what I've seen so far from people who've had COVID. And clearly, Povetkin looks like 120 when he was in there against White. And he looked off balance from round one. But, you talk about guys like Povetkin, you think, well, we saw his first performance. We know he's old. We knew he was old beforehand, but he still was able to pull out that punch and knock out White. So in the rematch, we knew he was still deadly with both hands. We didn't expect him to be coming into the ring ice skating from round one and his balance to be all over the place. Because if we'd known that, we would have probably previewed the fight differently. So you just don't know of boxing anymore, because I don't, from what I've seen of Liam Williams' resume, right? And you can be patriotic and British all you want. Just have to ask yourself the question, well, who exactly is Leon Williams beat to genuinely, for people to genuinely think he's got a chance against Andrade? Andrade was a very skilled amateur star. He beat the brakes off of Keith Thurman as an amateur, beat the brakes off of him, and quite a few other fighters. So, he has that amateur style, had the amateur pedigree, and boxed very well as an amateur. So from what I see of Leon Williams, he's tough, he's rugged, he's strong, he comes to fight, he's never going to back down, blah, 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 blah. But, big heart. But that can only take you so far. If it's a case in this fight that Leon Williams can fight his fight and be allowed to fight his fight and rough up Andrade, and he can, outbox him or out-rough him up or outman him and land some good punch that might stun Andrade and can cause some problems and disrupt the plan for him, then... But for him to do that, there's a skill set that Andrade has got. And it's a skill set that skill sets are things that people ignore. You can be in a gym and you can be training for a fight. And how do you know how much you've got to put into a fight if you've never fought at that level before? Say, for example, let's say, just use for example, the hamburger. So you eat the hamburger at McDonald's, okay? And then you move up and then you go to eat a quarter pounder. But because you've eaten a quarter pounder and you've eaten a hamburger, you automatically think, well, I've eaten a quarter pounder, I've eaten a hamburger, and then you go to eat the Big Mac and you find out, oh, hold on, first of all, this Big Mac can't fit in my mouth. Or secondly, there's too much of this to chew. Or thirdly, I tried to eat the quarter pounder and the hamburger, and I handled it quite well. But now I've got this Big Mac, and it's a lot harder for me to digest, and I'm going to have to take a bit more time. And boxing, most of the time, works that way. If you never had a Big Mac, then you don't really know what to expect or how to. You think in your mind, well, if I've handled a quarter pounder and I've handled a hamburger, I can handle a Big Mac. And that step up from quarter pounder to Big Mac is a problem. And then you got the Big Mac, and then somebody decides, like, I like to throw an extra burger on top of the Big Mac. Then you've got a real colossal problem there. You know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying there? So I hate to use Big Macs and quarter pounders. This is all quite unhealthy. But for that analogy and that idea in stepping up, and when you've only been around and you've only been eating quarter pounders and hamburgers, and you're training as if you're gonna fight a quarter pounder instead of a Big Mac, the problem is that when you come up against a Big Mac and you decide, I try to put my mouth to try and digest, or you have digestion issues because you're not ready, you're not prepared for that. And I think that Leon Williams is going to discover in this fight that when he tries to throw the punches he would normally have thrown at British level, and the guys have been there, he won't be able to land the same punches. When he tries to throw a jab and get himself in range, he's going to find that Andrade make him miss and make him pay. And at British, Commonwealth, or European level, the mistakes he probably would have gotten away with, Andrade's going to be wanting to put a show against Williams. And because of Andrade's career, what he would like to have done against Billy Joe Saunders, Leon Williams is going to be that guy who's come forward, and Williams in his mindset, and people around him have told him, well, Andrade's been scared of you, didn't want to fight you, and blah, 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 blah. So he's got it in his mindset that, Andrade is this, and he's scared of him, he don't want to fight him. And now he's coming face to face with him on April 17th. He finally is going to face that Big Mac. But if you've not had anyone to prepare you for the Big Mac, so you're doing your sparring, who in the UK technically is as good as Andrade? I would ask that question. Who is technically as good as Andrade? So there's that. And Andrade looks quite a big guy. He looks like he can make super middleweight quite easily. So technically, when you can't land the shots that you normally land at British level, and you're overreaching, and all that aggression has been taken away by a jab slamming you in your face. When you try to go throw a punch, you're here, the guy's over there. That's all very frustrating. And ultimately, you're in America. You know, this fight isn't set up for Williams to win. Really, it isn't. This fight is set up for Williams to lose. Well, Frank Williams said, yeah, I can see how Williams is going to win that fight. Yeah, Frank also told us that he thought that Dubois was going to beat Joyce. I'm scratching my head and say, Frank, do you really believe that? Or do you have to sell that to sell the fight to get Williams his title shot because that's part of the contract? Do you understand? So that's my thoughts on the whole Andrade-Williams fight. I expect Andrade, if he's the same guy, COVID-free, and not had any sort of adverse reactions or anything like that, I expect Williams to Andrade to fight his best fight against a guy who's going to bring it to him and shine. That's what I think is going to happen in this fight. What will actually happen? I don't know. I'm not Nostradamus, but that's how I kind of see this fight going. So let's. I haven't seen any press conference for Andrade versus Williams. I just haven't had the time. So I'm just being honest. So let's see what people are saying here. Lev says, James Elbishir argued on BWTM that Andrade would be a fan favourite fighter if he had a legitimate challenge. Yeah, well, is Liam Williams a legitimate challenge? Because the first question I will ask is, who was Liam Williams beat? That's the question I'll ask. Let's be honest straight. Who's he beat? Different sport entirely, Ingram, but Lewis Hamilton from 41 seems to have had zero adverse effects from being COVID positive in 2020. Not arguing, just giving a different sport example. Yeah, the hydraulics and the dynamics are probably totally different to boxing. First of all, Lewis Hamilton's not getting whacked on the chin constantly, and his brain's not shaking in that sense. But I guess he's got different dynamics to deal with, so I understand. But certainly for boxing, durability, balance are things that you need. Footwork, you need your footwork. First and foremost, you need your footwork in boxing. Don't care how good your punches are. Don't care how good your chin is. Ultimately, you need footwork to get in and out and to the sides. If your footwork's shoddy and it don't work, it don't matter what you can do with big punches. You can't land shots. You can't get leverage to throw shots. So it's key. But I get you, and I respect what you got to say there, Lev. Hi, Incognitos. Good to see you. I do like to see you in the comment section. You do leave some very interesting comments. Says, been watching the Williams Andrade build-up. Looking forward to the fight. Yep, I am too. Williams has been doing a lot of talking. I think Andrade stops Williams between 7 and 10. Yeah, I can see that happening. Andre says, what are the keys to victory for Williams? I don't know much about him. Don't get frustrated. Don't get frustrated. Try and keep as close to Andrade as possible and don't allow him to get into any rhythm. That's what I would say. Next question. Been on Andrade since debut. Yeah, but he is a good fighter. I think Billy Joe was fortunate not to fight him. The jab alone could do very well and win the fight for Andrade. That's what I'm saying to you. At this level, Liam Williams has been eating quarter poundies. He's now going to get him a Big Mac, a real Big Mac. Ingradamus is giving us the real news. I try and do what I can. I do try and do what I can. Yo, Ingram, good show, bro. Remember the song you did, Rascalot, with Lucy Marshall, Prolific Genius? Yeah, I think you need to do an updated one. I think you need to do the Code Edition 2021. So if you can get on that, that would be great. Appreciate it. So, and I must contact Lucy. That's another thing. Must get around to contacting her. Losing my mobile phone has not been clever. So I'll get in contact with Lucy. And if you're watching, Lucy, my love to you. So next up, next conversation you have Evander Holyfield versus Mike Tyson. Well, that fight's off at the moment. So Evander Holyfield's come back at 58 years old to fight Kevin McBride. Kevin McBride, the guy that retired Mike Tyson. Evander Holyfield's going to come out at 58 years old fighting Kevin McBride. 6'6" or something like that. McBride, I haven't seen McBride in years, but I haven't seen Evander Holyfield for years. And I don't really want to see that fight. Now, for us to see Holyfield Tyson 3, if that fight's really going to happen and make sense, to see Holyfield versus McBride, you don't want to see Holyfield getting beat up by McBride. You don't want to see Holyfield looking bad against McBride, because either of those two things will not bring us Holyfield Tyson 3. While I'm on the subject of Mike Tyson, he talked about saying he wants to fight Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, and Tyson Fury. Lennox Lewis talking about, yeah, I'll come back and fight Mike. Lennox Lewis needs to sit down. Lennox Lewis needs to sit down. He really does. Because if you're going to come back and fight anybody, come back and fight Vitaly Klitschko. Don't like Mike Tyson. Come back and fight Vitaly Klitschko. I'm sure Vitaly would be more than happy to welcome a rematch against you. The man's been called out for a rematch for years. You saw him because everyone else has got. Lennox is one of them kind of guys that, you know, he's like, no, you know what? I'm not going to do, I make a fool of myself in them exhibitions. I'm not doing that. You know, there's no money in exhibition boxing. I'm not doing that. You know, Hagler did it the right way. You know, Joe Calzaghe did it the right way. They didn't come back, and I'm not coming back. Then he sees Mike Tyson's making money, and he's thinking, Floyd's making some money. You know what? You know, I'm going to come back and fight Mike Tyson, you know, because, you know, there's misfits in boxing. You know, there's misfits in the heavyweight division still. You know, you got Evander Holyfield, and, you know, you got Mike Tyson. So why not Lennox Lewis come back, the Lion, and do something, you know? So Lennox needs to sit down, man. I don't want to see Lennox Lewis come back and fight. The only person I want to see Lennox come back and fight is Vitaly Klitschko. That's it. And I want the British public to put pressure on him to fight Vitaly Klitschko. I don't want it. You know, my mum said I shouldn't box anymore, so I respected her wishes. So why you come back and boxing now, Lennox? Why are you going to come back and box now? Nah, my man needs to sit down. He needs to sit in the corner, quiet. Go and manage some fighters. Go and do another book and tell us how great you were. Go and do some videos about being Lennox the Lion Lewis. Do that. You know, do some bedtime stories, or do another video of Thames Water, or do something with Pizza Hut. But for goodness sake, Lennox, don't come back and box. And if you are going to come back and box, if it was my way and I had the power and Lennox was going to come back, I would say to Vitaly, yo, Vitaly, Lennox is coming back. Come and do an exhibition for that against Lennox. And I would force it so much so that Lennox would have to go back, run straight back into retirement because Vitaly Klitschko was doing an exhibition bout. Because that's a fight that, you know, I would love to see. And I would just love to have seen it, you know, and I still would like to see it today. That's a fight I want to see. I'd rather watch Lennox Lewis versus Vitaly Klitschko in a rematch than watch Lennox Lewis go and fight Mike Tyson again. No interest in it whatsoever. You understand? That's just me personally, and I've got a real. I just don't want to see Lennox Lewis. I'm no interested in seeing it. I just don't want to see it. How will McBride help Holyfield fight Mike Tyson? I don't know. I don't know. Somebody somewhere will have the answer though. Holyfield versus Tyson has more for Tyson. Holyfield took more damage, longer career, and fought more elite fighters. Tyson will win based on him not being a shot worn. Well, Mike and all that weed, he's not shot worn, and was on the beach smoking weed, or was completely out as pothead before he fought Lennox Lewis, from what I heard. I think I don't know. I don't know. I say Williams' best chances in the first five. He's so aggressive, he gasses himself out. Yeah, he's one of them typical fighters, British fighters that walks onto the jab, and once he starts walking to the jab, hasn't got any answers other than keep walking onto the jab. You know, jab, hit with the jab, bam, hit with the jab, hit with the jab, hit with the jab, and then the eye shuts. Because once what plan A is out the window, forget it. For a lot of British trainers, once plan A is out the window, forget it. Forget it. Their fight is just going to get beaten. From that point of their plan A out of the window, they just get remorselessly beaten and then knocked out. It is what it is. Sorry to say. Yeah, the best Lennox Lewis I've heard, Ingram is killing it. Lennox, I've always been mocking that guy. I should stop though. Lewis Klitschko 2 would be fascinating. It would be fascinating. So if I hear Lennox talk, you know, I'm thinking of coming back. Well, yeah. Well, I'm thinking of getting on to Vitaly Klitschko. That is one, you know, I would personally go and fly to the Ukraine to make that fight happen. I would do it myself. That's how much I do want to see Lennox Lewis come back. That's how much. Seriously, I don't want to see that guy come back. Mate, haha, I don't know if it's just me, but Williams looks juiced to the gills, bruv. Yeah, but being juiced, if you can fight and you juice to the gills, it's a problem. But if you can't fight and you juice to the gills, it don't make a difference, does it? You know, you got to have a certain skill set to be effective in the. You know, when you're very high skilled and got fast hands and good footwork and experience and you juice to the gills, then you're a serious problem. Or as Frank Brewer said, you know, a serious hombre, Harry, a serious hombre, like a Harper shot. He kept on me, Harry. You know what I mean? But I don't see Williams being like that. So what else to talk about? The golden boy, Oscar De La Hoya, one of my favorite fighters. One of the guys I looked up to when I was growing up and boxing. He was the guy I modeled all of my boxing, Oscar De La Hoya. And one day I'm going to do a breakdown of why I liked Oscar De La Hoya, the things he did in certain elements of fights. I think the fight that I fell in love with Oscar De La Hoya is when he fought Chavez, the second fight. And the end of that fight, you know, the way he stopped Chavez, you know, he abandoned the jab. He literally went against the game plan and just stood and had a fight with Chavez, the great Julio Chavez. Although Chavez was coming to the end of his career, you go back and look at that last round. Look at the fight. It's a great fight. But look at the first fight, then look at the second fight. And there's really bad blood because Chavez felt that De La Hoya didn't really beat him properly. He felt like De La Hoya, I think he got cut, and Chavez was calling De La Hoya a boy. So De La Hoya really put it on Chavez. And if you're going to listen to the commentary for that fight, listen to the commentary of that fight with Ian Dark. That's Ian Dark at his very best, I think. De La Hoya versus Chavez 2. I did the commentary for that actually on BWTM Sports. If you can go and listen to commentary for that, I did it as well. Love that fight. So anyway, Oscar, the golden boy, De La Hoya, coming back. And there is serious talks, according to Eddie Vasquez, I think it's Eddie Vasquez, or Alvarez. He's basically saying that De La Hoya versus Canelo could happen in July. As early as July. So if Canelo gets past Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo versus De La Hoya could happen in July. De La Hoya obviously wants a beating. He clearly wants a beating. Because I don't see how De La Hoya can come back from all them years and then fight competitively against Canelo at, super middleweight? Really? He barely struggled to hit middleweight when he fought Hopkins, and Hopkins knocked him over with a body shot. Can you imagine how Canelo hit him with a body shot? Nah, De La Hoya needs to sit down. I told De La Hoya he needs to sit down. If De La Hoya wants to come back and fight someone, then I think De La Hoya should fight Floyd Mayweather again. That would be a fight. Or De La Hoya should fight Pacquiao again. Those are the two fights I would like to see De La Hoya fight. But otherwise, De La Hoya needs to sit down about fighting Canelo. You know, I'm going to say something here, right? I'm all for the exhibition bouts because I was calling for these exhibition bouts in Master League for the longest while. I was calling it up on this channel. And now, all the experts come saying, hey, it shouldn't happen. You know, why are people going to come back and box? And I could see it happening. And now we're seeing all these fighters come back. But when people like Holyfield and De La Hoya's talking about coming back and fighting Canelo, you ain't no Sugar Ray Leonard. And if one of those guys gets seriously injured by something like that, that is going to put a real dent on exhibition bouts. Bouts I would still like to see. Now, Cotto's meant to be fighting Marquez on the exhibition bout, right? But a fight I would love to see is Joe Calzaghe against Carl Froch. You know what I'd say? You know what? 3 rounds, I'd do a prize fight special. 3 rounds, Calzaghe Froch, 2 guys getting it and just get at it. That's it, 3 rounds. Absolute war for 3 rounds. Throw as many punches as you can for 3 rounds. So Frocha comes steaming out from one end, Kawasaki comes steaming out from the other end, and they don't like one another as it is, and just let it, boom, let it go. Listen, I think that's a magnificent fight to make. Kawasaki against Froch. Yeah, I could be a matchmaker. What are my thoughts on Tank versus Barrios? I haven't known that. I didn't know Tank is still fighting. I thought Tank was going to get put away for 7 years. Big muscles don't mean you can fight. Tyson Fury. Yeah, that's true. Have you seen the PBC schedule? It's decent. I'm a PBC man. I like PBC because I like PBC. So if it's an exhibition with Lennox and Klitschko, it would depend on rules. No exhibition, no damn exhibition. I would see no exhibition. I want Lewis Klitschko 2, no exhibition. If I was in the control, there'd be no exhibition. Proper 12 rounds, savage fight for the WBC, the heavyweight champion of that era. Klitschko Lewis, Vitaly Klitschko, Lennox Lewis, for the era at that time. That's what I would do. Yeah, I'm wicked like that. I would do that. I'll fix it up right. Then after that fight, I'll make a steel cage match as well. Then I'll do a chess boxing match as well. I just don't want to see Lennox Lewis come back. I just don't. Not to box. Nah, sorry. And the thing is, Lennox Lewis could have had a great career. Think about the 2 times he got knocked out were by Oliver McCall and Hasim Rahman. Hasim Rahman might make the Hall of Fame. Don't know if Oliver McCall will. And those are 2 blotches. Yes, he came back and avenged them. But when people say Lennox Lewis would have beat this person, Lennox Lewis would have beat that person, he also got knocked out by Oliver McCall and Hasim Rahman. And nobody can argue with me about that. So it's which Lennox Lewis is going to turn up. I was watching actually a fight the other day, a guy against a heavyweight that not a lot of people talk about, Zelko Mavrovic. Love that guy. I thought Zelko Mavrovic was a very good heavyweight. In fact, I'd like to see what Zelko Mavrovic would have done in his era. 6'4", he had good footwork, fast hands, good punching that right hand. Zelko Mavrovic. Love that man. Great fighter, Croatian. You should watch him fight. He was very good. Bridges versus Courtney had 6-4 going either way. Fight was close and the judges had it. Bridges was slipping a lot of shots and pressure made Courtney punch and fight when she didn't want to. Well, come on. Fights in the UK and it's under Matchroom Promotions. What did you expect? Me too, 6-4 either way. Judges were way off. Yeah, but what did you expect? Well, you know what I think of judges anyway, so. Delahoya versus Alvarez has a history. Bad blood, but Canelo will sit under the stool when he quits. Worse than Pacquiao, the beating will be. Asking as a fan with regards to Delahoya wanting a beating, is it possible for fighters to start to like pain? See, it's not the fighter wanting to like the pain. That is I would say that is a branch of that. So the adrenaline, and it's the adrenaline and the buzz of fighting. And it's the adrenaline and all the hormones and the testosterone flying through the body, and the buzz and all the fans being around, and all that sort of big fight and the flight or fight sort of thing, all that sort of builds up there. And then that pain, what you think is you're enjoying pain, is you're not enjoying pain. You're enjoying the adrenaline rush. You're enjoying all the buzz that comes off it. Nobody likes pain, because after the fight, you're in pain and you're behind closed doors and you're pissing blood, and nobody likes pain like that. It's the adrenaline. I understand that. I don't understand the pain side. It's the adrenaline. Examples of when you shouldn't come back. Lillard versus Camacho. When Camacho dropped and said, "Stay down, man," that's when you shouldn't have come back. Or maybe when Sugar Ray Leonard came back against Terry Norris. That's another one he shouldn't have come back. Yes, no exhibition, only real. Absolutely. So what else are we going to talk about? Oh, Fury versus Joshua, that little conversation to have. Before, yeah, the fight's been signed. Yeah, the fight's been signed. Yeah, the fight's been signed. Yeah, an announcement's imminent. Yeah, an announcement's imminent. Yeah, an announcement's imminent. Okay. Yeah, it's been signed. Yeah, Fury's gonna fight Joshua. Yeah, I've seen training videos. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm like, told you so. I'm like, okay, when's the venue? Yeah, they're posted the stadium. Okay, all right. So when's the fight? Yeah, Hearn said it's gonna happen next week. Okay, all right. Still waiting. Okay, there used to be a commercial. I couldn't remember what that commercial was. British commercial, and he used to go, still waiting. And it's like that, still waiting. You know, there's a few things that I want to get answered. So the British fans, an all British fight, why should you have to travel to America to see the fight? Why should you have to go to Saudi Arabia to see the fight? It's an all British fight. First time since Lennox Lewis to have an undisputed title. Yeah. And both British born fighters. But I think Lennox was born in the UK as well. And then he moved to Canada. In fact, I think Lennox went to my old school, which was St Bonaventures in Upton Park. And then he got expelled from St Bon's and he went off to Canada. And he fought for Canada Olympics. So I don't know if Lennox is considered British. But Bruno, but Bruno was British. He never fought for a British title. And then you've got Joshua and Fury. Both guys have fought for a British title and won the British title. Both guys are born in the UK. So why the hell should we have to watch this fight in Saudi Arabia? Why the hell would we have to watch this fight in Vegas? Why can't we watch this fight in Wembley? And for all those, we've already had COVID already. Like, it's ripped a lot of work from a lot of people. A lot of people have had to stay at home, protect the NHS. You know what I mean? So their income's been cut. So how's that going to work? And of course, Rob McCracken is part of the GB squad. And I believe the Olympics is this year. So what's Rob going to do? Is he going to continue training Joshua? Or is he going to give up the GB commitments? Or is he going to go to the Olympics with Joshua? And the Olympics are on as well. So how does that affect boxing? It's such a mega event. Surely you don't want to be putting a boxing event on when the Olympics are on at the same time. Really? Would you do that? Such a mega event? So I'm still a bit confused, and I'm even more confused because Tyson Fury said, "I'm never going to fight in the UK again. All my fights are going to be in the US." Well, if that's the case, Tyson, you're never going to fight in the UK again. Then Wembley's in the UK. So the fight will have to be in Vegas. But then I don't know. But I'm just thinking Joshua would surely want Rob McCracken in his corner because Joshua values Rob McCracken that much. When he got beat by Ruiz, you know, he said that he was gonna go, was it option number 2, which was add to the team and keep Rob McCracken. And if he got rid of Rob McCracken, people who wanted Rob McCracken gone are fools and clowns. So I can't imagine Joshua going into the biggest fight of his career without Rob McCracken. So it's either Rob McCracken's going to get some sort of exemption, I've got my dates wrong about the Olympics, or that fight's not going to happen in the summer. I don't know. If people can work that one out, I don't know. AJ Fury has a venue agreed. Do you think that's established or really built upon anything? I don't know. Listen, me and you have agreed at some point you're going to come on the show. At some point, you're going to come on the show and we're going to do a face-off and we're going to do a talk on the show. It's agreed. We're going to do it. I've never known an agreement in boxing to have given up so much hype. An agreement. An agreement. and they are come back, and Wilder and Fury are still in court, and they're not going to get the results till May. So I don't know what's going on. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. Fury Joshua agreed. LOL. Legalese indeed. I can't trust Eddie. Every other day he says the fight's been signed. No, you can't. When I see this stuff, I remember when Wendy's commercial in the 80s. Where's the beef? Lennox Lewis went to your school. That explains the battle between you two. Must have been some great school fights between you. Maybe a trilogy decided. I think I have the edge to Ingram. No, I think Lennox is superiorly older than myself. But thank you for adding that age on me. Like COVID doesn't happen in the Middle East. LOL. Yeah, it doesn't. Fury Joshua agreed to a site. The date and venue is still being worked on. If this fight is planned for July, it's going to go up against McGregor Portier. That's a bad idea. But not only that, damn the man boxing. What about Joshua and the Olympics? What happened to Rob McCracken? And what's going on with the Olympics? This is the Olympic year, correct? So what about all the amateur boxing and the Olympics and all those Olympic stars and Rob McCracken and a GB team? Are they suddenly going to drop Rob McCracken? You tell me. I don't know. Me coming on BWTM with Ingram. No, that's okay. I would melt like butter under Ingram's cross-examination. I'll just watch. Oh, come on. I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. What else are we going to talk about in boxing? We talked about Delahoya. We've talked about Canelo and Saunders. I think Saunders is slow just enough. I think he's that inactive that I think he's going to try his best. I still think Canelo's going to knock. I still think Canelo's going to stop him. I really do. And you might stop him with a body shot because he takes a decent shot, Saunders, but them body shots. I just get this feeling that Saunders is going to revert to type in there, and he's gonna get dirty in there against Canelo. I really think he's gonna get dirty in there. And if he does get disqualified, I wouldn't be surprised. That's what I'm expecting to see him get disqualified. Rather than get knocked out, I can see him getting disqualified. Yes, Rob McCracken is on duty for the Olympics in July. So how's Rob? So the omnipresent Rob McCracken, God McCracken. I'm going to call him not Rob McCracken, God McCracken, because he can be at the Olympics and with Joshua at the same time. I don't know. Where's the Olympics, by the way? Because let somebody know. Unless, here's one way they could do it. They could do the Olympics, wherever the Olympics are being held, is to hold the fight where the Olympics are. I think, I don't know if that could possibly work with the scheduling and everything. That's a good point, Ingram. The Furies have yet to confirm what Hearn had said today. Oh, well, Hearn said he saw the Furies today and it was positive talks. Yeah, well, I could see the Furies today and I could have positive talks with the Furies. Could say to them, hey, how you doing, Tyson? Good, you in good shape? What's the weather like? You like the weather out there? Cool. You're a great win against Deontay Wilder. And so that's a positive chat. Much ado about nothing. So, positive. What does that mean? And you see, I know he's going to ask those sort of questions because you know that the people that are asking the questions, for the most part, are part of the system. So they're paid by the promoter to do the questions. So you know that you're not going to get any real questions being asked. Not questions that are going to, really prod and poke. So, and I see them again going on with the whole, that some video came out again. Somebody that is just back on the whole Deontay Wilder's a liar. Deontay Wilder's this, Deontay Wilder's that. Just pushing that out again. And then talking about Dillian White fighting Deontay Wilder. Did anyone actually listen to that John Fury interview? Now, the stuff I said about Joyce and Usyk. So now, I said that fight, that Joyce walked straight through Usyk. I said he hasn't been impressive. Tyson Fury said it, and now John Fury said it. The same people who said I was talking nonsense, those two guys say it. Yeah, you'll give them the thumbs up. That's cool. That's cool. You know? And again, John Fury talked about fighters being rushed in boxing, but he's not going to allow that to happen to his son. Interesting. Interesting. If BJ Saunders gets dirty, Canelo responding kind. I've seen him when someone does something behind the head. He comes right back. A bad idea for BJ Saunders. Any news on Boatsi's next fight? Do you think he can make 168 pounds? On the subject of 168 pounds, did you know that Jack, what's his name? Sunderland, the heavyweight, Josh Sunderland, the young heavyweight that I called Smoking Josh Sunderland, and he's taking that as his name, is now boxing at light heavyweight. So Josh Sunderland, who's been a heavyweight and has fought some a light heavyweight, and he's been trained by Dave Allen. So you have to look out for Mr. Josh Sunderland, by the way. Just thought I'd mention that. In terms of Boatsi, yeah, I think he's too small for light heavyweight. I really do, but he might have other things, and we'll see what Virgil Hunter does with him. Lennox needs to go chill and put some defense. Yeah, man. You know, bless up. You know, level vibes. Level vibes. I saw him today. It was positive. Does that mean he's written me into his will? No, nothing but conjecture. That's what I'm saying. People are so eager for this fight, so eager to be right. Yes, yes. The venue, yes. They're so eager. Like, it's like, I don't want to get political here, but I will say this much. It's like the standards have lowered so much in the UK now, right? That to go out and have a pint, you take a photograph and celebrate having a pint. That's what we've got to now. That's the stage of mentality we've got now. We're celebrating that now because we're allowed to go out and play now, so we can celebrate having a pint. That's the level we're at now. And we're so desperate in boxing now because, to be honest, the standard of boxing and the muppets that run boxing today, to be honest, and I will say that, and a lot of the BS people are fed up of. So now you've got a real fight. People are desperate for that fight to get over the line. So that's what's going on now. If it was like the UFC, it'd be different. You know, you're getting quality fights all the time, the best are fighting the best. And the dialogue was, even if you get beat, it doesn't matter, you can come back again. But as long as we've got parasites like Adam Smith telling boxers, it's the end of the line. Where will he go after here? After one defeat in their career? You know what I mean? As long as that's going on and Egypt's commentating is saying that nonsense, then that's just where boxing and the mentality of it's like you lose one fight, that's the end of your career. Whereas the great fighters of yesteryear lost 4, 5, 6 sometimes fights that Sugar Ray Robinson lose fights and still come back and win. It's just nonsense. Nonsense. Oh no, Mike Tyson said Sugar Ray Leonard had to beat Floyd Mayweather Jr. And he said that there's no way to beat Floyd. How would you train a fighter to have a chance to fight Floyd? Well, one answer, a couple of answers. Two guys I think I believe would beat Floyd. Thomas Hearns and Paul Williams. I think if that was Thomas Hearns that hit Floyd with that right hand, Edwin Curtains. You got to remember, this is Thomas Hearns at welterweight that knocked out Roberto Duran, cold. Yeah. I think I would like to see Roberto Duran. I would give Roberto Duran a chance against Floyd Mayweather. And light middleweight, because Floyd did fight light middleweight, Julian Jackson, he fought a light middleweight. I would like to see what happened if Julian Jackson was able to connect on Floyd. Those are fights. Julian Jackson, not so much. But definitely Thomas Hearns and Paul Williams. Long arms, tall, long, rangy, able to use the jab, pop the right hand over the top, over because you've got all the temple exposed now. So when he's doing what's shoulder roll and stuff, and guys are tall. They're just so Paul Williams and Thomas Hearns, they're two guys I think that would have beaten Floyd. I've got Billy Jones, zero chance in all honesty. He's fighting in America against a cash cow in Texas. Those judges are corrupt. Let's make it even more clear for you, right? He's fighting on a Mexican holiday against a Mexican who's pound for pound, arguably he's pound for pound #1 in the world, because you can't put Terence Crawford pound for pound. How old is Terence Crawford? And who's the best guy he's fought on his resume? That's all I say about Terence Crawford. So, and that's not hating on Terence Crawford, is what it is. He's what, 35 years old now? Who's the best fighter who's got his resume? Yeah, exactly. But then you've got Canelo. And when you think about Canelo, yeah, well, my point was, I forgot what my point was. Let me go back. Yeah, Canelo is a cash cow in America. You really think that they want to see him lose that goal to be undisputed? I don't think so. And I really don't think that they want to see a rematch with Billy Joe Saunders. Sorry. We're allowed to go out and play. No true words were spoken on topic. It is what it is. Well, with the UFC, they have only one body of officials, and that's it. That's why I wanted Al Haymon to buy these boxes like the mob did in the 20s, and then we'll see fights we wanted. Yep, agreed. All facts in Grum. Yeah, well, I try. It might not be what people want to hear, but I'll try. You know, look, we've got to face it. Unless the older generation, because remember, you look at guys like Eddie Futch, they passed it down to Freddie Roach. You had Customato working with guys like Kevin Rooney and then Teddy Atlas. I don't rate Teddy Atlas that much, but you see there's a lineage. There's somewhere you can track. You got to look at some of these trainers. Look at the fighters. Look at the trainers in the UK. Brendan Ingle still is the best trainer the UK have produced. The best trainer. British, Commonwealth, European, world. And multiple world titles and multiple fighters who have been world champions. Brendan Ingle. You name me another British trainer that is as successful as Brendan Ingle. And why is it taking so long for any other British trainer to beat what Brendan Ingle's done? And there's a lot of trainers around, but they haven't achieved what Brendan Ingle's done. And believe it or not, he was unorthodox. He went against the grain. And look what he's done. Because Brendan Ingle, what Brendan Ingle taught, you're not going to see no ABA manual. You're not going to see no pro British Boxing Board of Control manual. What he taught was original and lots of good footwork and reflexes and body sparring. You know what I mean? So the first part of Al Haymon's mob plan worked with the PBC first formed. We've got a ton of fights we wanted. Then Bob Arum and he put primates, got together and used the RICO Act against him, and boom. Yeah, they got jealous. They were jealous. What happened was, it's typical of these people, typical of their mentality. What I think happened was, they didn't believe that Al Haymon was going to do what he did. They underestimated the power of Al Haymon. They think he'd do it. Then Al Haymon went and did it. They saw the power of what Al Haymon was doing. Said, nah, he used too much power. Not for him. No, you can't have that too much power. So we need to claw back some power. And that's what you got there. That's what you got there. Okay, let's. I'm still here, still. So let's talk. What we've been here 50 minutes. Let's talk about some other things. Sport in general, right? Let's talk about a few things. I want to ask you some questions because you're always asking me the question. I ask some questions. So, if I was going to do a sports reality show, right? What would you like to see in that sports reality show? If I was doing a sports reality show, a weekly sports reality show, what would you like to see in that reality show? What were the things you'd like to see? Question number one. Question number two. Now that I'm getting my hands warm again, would you be interested in seeing more live action coaching videos on the channel as well? Because I want to get back into doing a little coaching. Yeah, I want to do the coaching. I've got a lot of opportunities coming up and plans. So I would like to do some live coaching. So I'd like to know what you'd be interested in that, instructional videos, maybe even live matches so you can watch to see what's going on as well. So yeah, would you be interested in that? Is that something you'd be interested in? Question. The funny thing is that Elaine Bridges lost the fight, but the people are still talking about her more than the winner, and that tells you personality and hard work goes a long way. Yeah, I agree. Yes, I would love to see live coaching videos. Okay, because that's what I want to do, and I want to take things to another level this year. I've got some things I'm working on. Can't talk too much about them at the moment, but when they land, they'll be big. Growth of the people involved. Yeah, of course. So I've always said the channel has always been about the people. And I think that I want to do that again. I want to kind of do that, especially with the opportunities I have now. I would like to do some stuff. I'm working on some major projects now, so I would like to do some stuff. I would like to get your opinion as to what you would like to see on the channel. Of course, you're watching this on Facebook as well, so if you're on Facebook, please leave your comments in the comment section as well. It would be great to have studies on technique like counter and how to discourage an aggressive fighter. Okay, that'd be nice. I could probably do something on that as well. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? And I want to talk about the psychology of sport as well. I would really love to talk about the psychology of sport. I would like to talk about the coaching philosophies, breaking down coaching philosophies, sports science, a bit of NLP. So a lot of what a player does, why you do it, and how they get from where they were to where they are. So I would like to do a series of, let's say, I don't know, John's 21 years old. When he started, for example, he started never boxed before. And let's say the first 6 weeks, I'm teaching John to throw the jab, the right hand, the left hook, and the uppercut. Those are 4 punches I've taught, or 4 or 5 punches I've taught him. And then teaching combination punching. And then over the 6-week period, you could see John's improvements or Mike's improvements or whatever, or females as well, their improvements. That's an example. I'm not saying I will go down that route, but I would want to see what people really want to see. What would interest you? What would make you tune in on a Sunday night to watch a reality show that I was involved in? What would you want to see? Because this is something I want. Whatever you do see, it will be real. It won't be scripted. It will be real. And it will be stuff that I can't control because it will involve not just me, but many other people involved as well. Out of the current fighters at 160, 168, who do you think will dethrone Canelo Ingram? Okay, here's how I think you beat Canelo. There's 2 ways you beat Canelo, I think. First of all, you're completely committed. You're completely in. You're in. You're strong you have to push him, be in his face from round 1 to round 12. Or 2, you have to jab and move. Now, I want to talk about Canelo for a second. He's talking about, yeah, you know, if I fought Floyd now, I'd be a better fighter now. But can I ask you one question, Canelo? Just one question. Who have you fought that could be comparable to when the last time you got beat by Floyd? So, like, I got my ass kicked by Bruce Lee, and all the people I've been fighting are Chuck Norris and the local guy at the dojo and the keep fit guy. Yeah, and then because I fought all them guys and beat all I've gone in the local dojo and beaten guys up, suddenly I think, right, I'm gonna go back for Bruce Lee again. Yeah, I might be more confident. Yeah, I might have picked up a few tricks or two. But guess what? You didn't work me out then. You won't work me out now. You might have a bit more upper body movement, but that looks great against the clowns you've been fighting, with all due respect. But you haven't fought anybody on the level of Floyd. So where people have got this delusionary idea that, yeah, he'll beat Floyd now. It might be because of old age and the reflexes. But he'll never outbox Floyd. Come on. Behave. Come on, man. Stop it. Personally, grassroots coaching of prospects in any sport would be amazing. So yes, I would love this on BWTM in the future. Cool. Okay. You're on. How to roll shots, placing yourself as a fighter in later rounds and strategic clinching and fighting on the inside. Yep, I think so. I think, yeah, the other guy that beats Canelo is one who can box and fight. So when Canelo wants to fight, you box him. So you just stay on the outside and box. And then when he wants to take breathers in the fight, like Canelo will always give you breathers in the fight. When Canelo gives you breathers, that's when you set the tempo up and put pressure on Canelo. Canelo is a fighter that cannot fight 12 rounds at a pace. I don't believe he can. I believe he'll take spots and breathers in the fight. That's where you've got to take initiative and beat Canelo. Then when he doesn't want to fight, that's why you've got to fight Canelo. Because I don't think his engine is changing. I think he fights that way, but the guys he's fighting have not been able to capitalize on that weakness. And he still is quite heavy-footed and kind of flat-footed. So you can bounce and move around the ring with Canelo. So those are other guys' ways to beat Canelo, I think. I couldn't do it, but I'm saying that's what I would train my fighter to do. In and out, lateral movement. So when he wants to take a break, then you jump at him. And then when he wants to box, get the hell out of there. Get the hell out of there. One of the most important things to beat Canelo is to stay off the ropes and claim the center of the ring with a crisp jab. Disagree with you. I think you can stay on the ropes with Canelo. I think you can push him to ropes physically, get your head inside of Canelo and work his body. Early, work his body. Slow him down. So when he's taking in breathers in the later rounds, and he's gasping for air because he's looking for that energy, and you sacked it out because you've been whacking the body attack at him. So around 7, 8, 9, 10, usually where he's sitting on the ropes just taking a breather, that's when you can come on top of Canelo, because then he's trained a certain way. He won't expect that. I don't believe Canelo is going to change the way he's training now, as I think he's there to be taken in that sense. Yeah, Adam Smith could imagine him in the presence of Mike Tyson at his most intimidating. Oh, God. Lev says, if you had Amir Khan against Canelo, would you personally see that fight as a winnable fight? No. No. Because Amir Khan has not got... He's never had great boxing IQ. Go back and look at the fight against Canelo. First of all, people don't notice, Canelo sets him up. He hurts him to the body. He hurts Khan to the body, and that significantly wins Khan, and it catches attention. So Khan brings his hands down because he's been hit with a body shot. Then he throws 2 shots, and he goes for the same 2 shots again, and gets caught with the same shot. Gets nailed with a right hand over top. That right hand was similar to how Harold Graham got knocked out by Julian Jackson. For the first 2 was nice, came in for the same 2 shots again, boom, got nailed. That's how Canelo knocked him out. That's how Canelo knocked out Khan. And that's how Julian Jackson knocked out Harold Graham. Throwing the same punch repeatedly. Same combination repeatedly and getting knocked out. Beautiful counter punching. Yeah, I mean, for the opponent to stay off the ropes and not let his back touch the ropes. Canelo, yes. The opponent, no. Hell yeah, of course. Get off the ropes against Canelo. Who are they talking about? Canelo, Crawford fight? To slip my mind. He was at the guy's recent fight. I think they're talking about Crawford fighting Pacquiao and Crawford fighting Porter, but Porter refused $2 million. Oh yeah, let's talk about Conor Benn. Conor Benn thinks he can knock out Sean Porter. I don't think so. There's backing your guy and supporting your guy. He doesn't knock out Sean Porter. Conor Benn knock out Sean Porter. Are you serious? Are you? Stop the gas. Stop the gas. Charles chance against Canelo. I'm not sure if anyone 100% could beat him. Well, he's got one thing that a lot of those guys didn't have. Where he's got three things in his favor. Good chin. You need to have a good chin. 2, punching power. Yeah, you know, he's got punching power, I think. And 3, physical strength. You know, or 4, unbeaten record and a hunger and desire to fight. How many guys have got unbeaten records that have got punching power and are confident in their ability? Billy Joe Saunders is not a puncher at 168. It would be interesting if Charlo's a big puncher at 168. Be interested to see. Ortiz Jr. Virgil Ortiz. Nah. I think he's okay, but I wouldn't say he's overrated, but he certainly isn't the killer that everyone's calling him out to be. How many rounds did it take for him to stop Samuel Vargas? And it wasn't even a great stoppage. I'm not that excited about Virgil Ortiz. Boots in this looked good, but he looked like a guy who's got holes in his defense. Virgil Ortiz, yeah. I'm not. Conor Benn looked good starting out, but that ref stopped the fight in the first one way too damn early. Yeah, maybe. Vargas takes too many punches. He takes too many shots like a goalkeeper. I think Charlo or Andrade would have the best chance to beat Canelo or cause some serious problems. Yeah, well, the thing is, if he doesn't fight in Mexico or fight in America, that's cool. But if he fights in America, no, because they're going to have to knock Canelo out. How much does draining a weight class affect a fighter's power? Well, never mind his power. You've got the durability you've got to consider, and how have they lost that weight? That's another thing you've got to consider. And this is something I learned from Andy Gill, the boxing trainer. When you lose weight, where are you losing the weight from? They're losing the weight from the brain. And there's not enough water for the brain, and the brain shaking around, less water around because you've lost that weight. So that's something that we need to think about there. So durability, you lose. I think losing weight. Also, you know, I think you're faster if you lose the weight. Don't know. You lose the weight, you're vulnerable to body shots as well. I think when you lose weight, you're vulnerable to body shots. Yes, Ingram, I was going to say going live in the gym. Okay. Well, this might not just be in the gym, though. It might be out in the field as well. So it might just not be in the gym. Cool. Would be cool to see you coaching, brother. Oh, there's videos of me coaching out there already. If you ever get a chance and you've seen it, or if you haven't seen it already, check out Ingram Jones Community Champion, and check out my talk at Middlesex University. It's when I did a talk at Middlesex University. He talked about my journey in cricket coaching. Check that out. Yeah, there's some videos out there on that. I have no idea how guys like Spence and Tiffany drain themselves down to those lower weights. They are huge. A good trainer, scheduling fights with enough notice. Eating a certain type of diet, and as they get some of these fighters, like you look at Spence now, he looks far more disciplined than he did before. And a lot of the drink is, if he's stopping the drinking, that's certainly going to help as well. Okay, any more topics to discuss before I disappear tonight? Any more topics, people? Any more topics? Any more topics? That's just an hour ago now. So then I think that's about it. If nobody else has got anything else to say, then thank you so much. I really appreciate you all. News about that, those videos are coming soon, and that reality show is going to come soon. Thoughts on a possible Crawford-Porter clash? Don't think it's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Yeah, some fighters almost anorexic, yes. If it does, great fight. Question about Crawford and Porter is that, can Porter disrupt Crawford? That's the question. That's the big question. Is he skillful enough to disrupt Terence Crawford? And how much has Sean Porter got left? Nobody's asking that question about Sean Porter. How much has he got left? He's been in a lot of fights, you know. And Keith Thurman needs another one. He needs to sit down. He's another one that needs to sit down. Keith Thurman's plan is fight once a year, call out a top welterweight, get paid, and go and run back up in the mountains again. That's what I think. Right. I think I'm done now. Thoughts on Lopez and Kambosos? I hope that Teofimo Lopez's passion for promoting and promoting his position as undisputed hasn't gone so far to his head that he's forgot he's actually a fighter. And that can happen when the balance between being a fighter and being a promoter or a promoter's dream can become a nightmare. So I hope that he can put on a similar type performance or better performance than he did against Lomachenko. That's what I hope. And he doesn't kind of come into the ring, either overweight or just below par, or just trying to knock Kambosos out early and walk onto a big one. All those sort of things. And I'm still not convinced on Lopez's ability to handle pressure when it's put on him. I'm still not convinced of that. And I think Lomachenko was starting to put a pressure on him that he didn't like. And I think a guy who's going to beat Lopez, I think is going to be a guy that puts it on him and sticks it on him. You've got to stick it on Lopez from day one, from ball one. That's what from round one, you've got to stick it on Lopez. That's what I think. I'm not convinced that he had it completely under control when Lomachenko, a smaller fighter, was putting pressure on him. So what would a big, strong, lightweight do with him when he's putting him under pressure on the back foot against the ropes? So going on like racing jockeys, yeah. Why do you think Fury is trimming down for the AJ fight? If he's actually fighting AJ. I don't know. Speed, mobility, movement. I think so. Because the faster they can be against AJ, then they'll look to counter land the right hand. And they know that AJ's chin's not the greatest. Fury seems to be coming in a lot skinnier for this potential bout with AJ. He does. But he looks sick. When I look at the pictures of him, me personally, Fury looks sick. He might be devastating. He looks sick to me. Looks sick. But it's interesting. You put on weight against a slimmer guy, and against a bigger guy, you're losing weight. Okay. I've always thought that when you're fighting a bigger guy, usually you put the weight on so you could absorb and be strong in the clinches. And then John Fury said something along the lines about Fury being much more effective at 19 stone. So either that's a whole load of hogwash, or, you know, why would you not fight at 19 stone? Because 19 stone's where he's big and he's strong and he's powerful. That's why he wasn't doing so well against Otto Wallin, because he was not 19 stone. That's what John Fury said. So I don't know. John knows what's about. I don't know. I agree. Lopez's back foot game isn't the best. I've heard how Haley got the best of him in sparring pressure. Yeah, I mentioned it actually in a video about Lopez, looking at his amateur days and how when the pressure was being put on him, it wasn't Haley actually that did it. It was Tank Davis. Tank was, I'm sure it was Tank that was sparring him. Tank was going to put it on him, and his dad said, no, stop that. So, yeah. Right. Time for me to get out of here. I've been on an hour a bit. So, leave your comments in the comment section. Much love to you all. Smash the like button, by the way, while you're in the room. Please do smash that like button. I really appreciate the love. And I think it's time to get out of here, to be honest. Take care. Thanks again. Appreciate you. Rate, subscribe, leave comments. Take care.